more loud and more proud and to be bold.
Everyone deserves to be proud of who they are and who they want to be.
This is the moment to be happy.
Welcome to Queens Pride, a CBS New York special. I'm your host, Jessica Moore. Queens is the city's most diverse borough, and that's why it's the perfect location for the city's second largest Pride Parade. It's been happening almost every year here in Jackson Heights since 1993. The parade was founded in memory of one young man named Julio Rivera.
To many people in the LGBTQ community, Julio Rivera is known as the man whose murder galvanized the neighborhood of Jackson Heights, Queens, to fight for equality and acceptance. But for Patricia Dunley, her cousin Julio was so much more.
He was polite, he was well-spoken, he was intelligent, he was handsome, really handsome. When he walked into a room, he had beautiful, glassy brown eyes.
Rivera was a gay, New York-born Puerto Rican from the Bronx who lived in Jackson Heights and worked as a bartender. Dunley says the family grew up poor but was rich in acceptance.
We would have parties, we would have birthday parties and Christmases and Thanksgivings and Halloween parties. Many times there was a man dressed as a woman, and that was cool, and nobody even, it didn't even cross our minds that that might be a problem until it was.
On July 2nd, 1990, at the young age of 29, Rivera was brutally murdered at a schoolyard playground in Jackson Heights.
They killed him with a 40-ounce bottle of beer, the glass shards, a hammer.
Police initially dismissed the idea of a hate crime, chalking Rivera's death up to a drug deal gone bad. Outrage quickly spread among the LGBTQ community, leading to the first hate crime conviction in New York City.
Why do you think Julio's death galvanized the community as effectively as it did?
They were just done with dying. Here he was so young and, you know, so loved and so beautiful, and it just wasn't something that we were sort of aghast.
They went out hunting for a homosexual to kill. Can you imagine? Julio Rivera's murder was actually our Stonewall.
In the aftermath of Rivera's murder,
We want people to know we are your family.
longtime Queens City Councilman Daniel Drum started the Queens Pride Parade, the city's second largest pride parade. The openly gay lawmaker and former teacher had long fought for equality in the neighborhood, introducing an inclusive curriculum called Children of the Rainbow that he says was swiftly shot down as homosexual propaganda. Drum says Rivera's murder made the quietly pervasive undercurrent of hate undeniable.
What I decided to do was to put a face on the tens of thousands of LGBTQ people who live in the borough of Queens, because people needed to get to know who we are. We're your family, your friends, and your neighbors, and maybe you don't know that we're gay, but we're there.
The joy of it is what we really need. You know, we need to be able to say, everybody's different, and here we are, and we're going to be happy about it. Why not? I could just see him, just parading around and dancing and joyful. He would have really, really loved it.
The parade in Julio's honor stepped off at 89th Street in Jackson Heights before coming to an end at 75th Street for a multicultural festival. CBS New York was a proud media sponsor of Queens Pride in partnership with our Better Together campaign. CBS staffers donned their Better Together purple with pride. Even our mobile weather lab showed up for the celebration and got the bird's eye view of the parade from its roof cam.
During the festival, people also had an opportunity to watch some exciting performances on stage. CBS 2's John Diaz caught up with some of the big acts before the big day to see why it's important to be proud all year long.
Multi-talented drag queen Mercy B started playing the violin at 4 years old never thinking 24 years later she'd be performing at the Queen's Pride Festival.
Pretty much the same thing I've always done, except now I'm wearing a wig.
The drag queen is just one of many performers who gets to show off their skills at the annual festival. They all would agree their hard work practicing is worth it.
It's a tough time for queer people out here, and the most important thing we could do right now is just show up loudly and proudly.
These people work hours on their costumes and their performances and work meticulously trying to pick the perfect song and also simultaneously represent themselves, you know, and stay true to who they are.
The festival is in Jackson Heights, Queens, one of the most diverse communities in the world. So it's only fitting each performer is unique, like Lolita Leopard. She is a ballroom performer and singer who has appeared on national television, winning awards for her talents.
I love being a role model for the younger generation that can look up to me and want to be able to perform and be able to say, hey, I can do that too.
And then there's also the Gotham Cheer Team.
5, 6, 7, 8.
A group of adult cheerleaders, all a part of the LGBTQI+ community, trying to make a difference in the community.
Do you wake up and you think, oh, my back hurts?
Yes. Like I mean, that's a little, yes, that's a little too real.
Felipe Hernandez is the co-founder. He says his nonprofit is all about helping to shape the younger generations and show them you could be whoever you want to be.
But the idea is for adults to give back and not just do backflips. Who you are matters. And you can shine with pom-poms, with glitter, with whatever you want, however you want. We want to make sure that everybody is a star.
And Gotham Cheer has been rehearsing their performance every week since January.
It's that instant connection of seeing yourself, right? And vice versa, us seeing ourselves when we look at the crowd. So I think that's super important for not just youth, but everyone.
And every one of them wants to wear the rainbow and perform with it proudly.
Coming up on Queen's Pride, a CBS New York special. The theme of this year's parade is drag-tastic, and drag culture is a huge part of the LGBTQ community. But you don't often see these kings and queens stripped down.
Drag has been really perfect for me as a creative outlet, as an artist, just to really celebrate not having limits, which is something as a young queer person that I always faced was with limits.
Some New York-based performers took us behind the makeup and spoke about what drag means to them. Plus,
we have inclusivity here because this has become a refuge, and this is a place where everybody can feel safe.
Queens has been home to a flourishing LGBTQ+ community for decades. We take a tour of Jackson Heights to show you why.
Come on, CBS! You know where you're at! Jackson Heights!
Pride means coming together, celebrating who you are, and feeling safe and respected and happy.
The theme of this year's Queen's Pride is drag-tastic, and as the art of drag has been under attack recently, it's even more important to remember the vibrant people underneath the makeup. CBS 2's Natalie Duddridge explores the history of drag, past and present.
Everyone listen, my name is Rose.
She's one of New York City's most electric drag entertainers and a finalist on season 13 of RuPaul's Drag Race.
Rose is the TP, total package. I can't believe I'm standing on this stage with you. Oh, RuPaul, you always look beautiful.
She goes by Rose, known as the ambassador of the color pink.
I'm the definition of American dream.
We got to meet the person behind the performer.
How's it going? Nice to meet you too.
Ross invited us to his home to show us how he gets ready and becomes Rose.
I like to keep all of my drag downstairs except for in this closet. You want to see?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the only mess you'll find in my house, and this is where I do my makeup.
The transformation is a process.
I've been dressing up like a girl since I was a little kid. My parents have always, luckily, been really supportive of that and you know, encouraged me to chase my ridiculous dreams.
Rosé got her start competing in Lady Liberty, a New York City drag competition 6 years ago that propelled her career.
I won that competition, the whole thing, and I kind of just never looked back. It doesn't usually happen like that, and not in New York City. You kind of have to like go through for a few years and like pay your dues and like climb the ladder.
She joined a drag trio that appeared on America's Got Talent.
Most drag queens lip sync. What sets us apart is the fact that we are singers.
And performed on The Voice. And this year, a new challenge. Ross appeared as himself, stripped down of makeup in the off-Broadway hit musical Titanic.
And I was like, oh my God, I feel naked on this stage. I'm so vulnerable. People can see my real face. People can see my real body. Drag is a suit of armor. It is a, you know, a really thickly woven costume over you, and it's protection. And I didn't necessarily realize that mine was for years.
Back in Rosé's apartment an hour later, the armor is on and she's ready.
Hi, it's me. It's Pride, and I'm proud.
So how do you describe Rosé? Is it a character, an alter ego?
Yeah, I mean, when I started drag, I used to say, because a lot of people do have like a really strict and definitive like alter ego, like it is like a character. And Rosé never really was that in the beginning. Now she totally is. But essentially, it's just me with no filter.
Drag is a performance art with a long history. Ancient Greeks recorded men dressing in women's clothing. And in 1600s England, women were banned from acting, so men played their roles. And sometimes women snuck on stage by dressing in men's clothing, as depicted by Gwyneth Paltrow in the movie Shakespeare in Love.
We know what happened in Shakespearean times. Women were not allowed to participate in plays, so the men dressed up in drag. Japanese culture, similar to kabuki theater.
Flame is a drag queen activist and educator who explains that over time, drag impersonation became tied to the LGBTQ community, and therefore it was considered a crime and had to move underground.
Historically, many drag performers or trans people have been forced into nightlife because we have not been allowed access to be out in the light of day because of so much persecution, transphobia.
So as a way to have a career in the daylight, many performers started working drag brunches.
No.
And more recently, reading books to children in what's become known as Drag Story Hour.
I was one of those queer kids that needed to see representation, needed to see that I wasn't alone. So many kids get bullied for the silliest things, you know, too skinny, too heavy, too tall, too short. And this book teaches kids that it's okay to be yourself no matter what you are.
Look how happy he is.
Performers say there are many misconceptions about Drag Story Hour, but their goal is simply to encourage kids to be comfortable in their own skin.
My daytime character feels more like a clown. Dressing up as your favorite made-up character. So for me, my character is a king. My character is a man.
Oliver the Place is also a Drag Story Hour NYC reader who identifies as non-binary. Oliver says recently a child asked about their identity.
She goes, Titi, are you a girl? And I go, no, I'm not a girl. And she goes, are you a boy? And I go, no, I'm not a boy either. I'm kind of neither. I'm kind of both. I'm kind of all over the place. And she goes, my name out of drag is Angel. And she goes, your name is, she goes, you're just Angel? And I go, yeah, exactly. And she got it immediately.
And for those who don't get it, these queens and kings say they're not asking for approval, they're just asking for acceptance.
In the day and age in which we live now, and in this country, I think it's really important to solidify the message that drag is not dangerous. Drag is the opposite of dangerous. It is love.
Through all the multifaceted layers, the makeup, the hair, the outfits, Rosé says she's discovered herself. And now she's setting off for a world tour with RuPaul's Drag Race, all dressed up with everywhere to go.
Jackson Heights really is a melting pot that welcomes people of all backgrounds. Here, a multicultural queer community has been thriving for decades. CBS 2's Elmick Logan has more.
With its rainbow of languages and foods, to explore Jackson Heights is to travel the world. At this crossroads of cultures, a thriving LGBTQ community has found a home. Eddie Valentine co-owns Friends Tavern, one of the area's oldest gay bars.
For many people who came from Latin America, they were running away from persecution.
Valentine says in the 1980s, Friends Tavern was a sanctuary.
When you're a Latino and you're first generation Latino and you come to a place, first of all, you don't know English. Second of all, you're not hearing the music you're used to listening to back home. So in a way, you want to be in a new country, but you also want to feel at home in the new country.
The bar embraced these locals with Spanish-speaking staff and Latin music, and over time, the customer base expanded.
We're getting a mixture of second generation Latino. We are getting Asians coming to the bar. We're getting subcontinent Asians coming to the bar, and it's becoming more and more mixed.
Valentine wants all visitors to feel accepted.
Besides serving libations, we serve love. So when customers come in, we want to hear about your problems. We want to hear what's happening back home. We want to hear how's your family, whether it's in Latin America or whether it's in Europe. We have inclusivity here because this has become a refuge. And this is a place where everybody can feel safe.
In this way, Friends Tavern is quintessentially Jackson Heights.
The values of this neighborhood set an example for the rest of the nation.
Shaker Krishnan is the first Indian American to be elected to the New York City Council. He is honored to be one of this year's Grand Marshals for the Queens Pride Parade.
Queens, of course, is one of the most diverse places on earth, and Jackson Heights is maybe one of the most diverse places within Queens. Talk to me a little bit about the diversity, the languages spoken, the foods. What really excites you about the diversity here?
Well, you know, in Jackson Heights and Elmhurst alone, there are over 167 different languages spoken. This has been a community where so many immigrant communities have gotten their start. The food is incredible precisely because it's the food from so many of our home countries.
About 60% of Jackson Heights residents were born outside the U.S. Councilmember Krishnan says the inclusive neighborhood is fertile soil for the queer community to grow too.
We show how across our cultures, our languages, across who we are, our gender identities, no matter any of those things, that we all come together as one neighborhood.
Queens is also home to a number of booming LGBTQ+ businesses. In Astoria, enjoy some Latin flavor at Fresco's Grand Cantina, or stop by one of Lockwood's many shops for fun clothing, home goods, and other unique items. Then you can dance the night away at True Colors or Hombres Lounge in Jackson Heights. These are just a few of the countless ways you can support the LGBTQ community all year long. Still ahead on Queens Pride, a CBS New York special.
I know our pantry is called Love Wins, but I literally felt the love that day. I didn't know anyone, sorry. A little emotional, but it just felt inclusive.
It's more than just a food pantry for this neighborhood. How its partnership with the Senior Center is providing comfort to the LGBTQ community and beyond.
A lot of people in the community tell us they moved to Queens because the borough is so welcoming. CBS 2's Cindy Hsu shows us how two advocacy groups here are making a big difference.
Every 2 weeks, truckloads of fresh fruits and vegetables arrive at Love Wins Food Pantry, which is run out of Friends Tavern in Jackson Heights. The food comes from partnerships with the city and other pantries. It was started for the LGBTQ community during the COVID pandemic. Mark Burmester helps run the nonprofit, which is operated solely by volunteers.
We started in June 2020. There were a lot of food pantries in the neighborhood helping people who needed it, but they were all ran out of churches. And I know that not every queer person feels comfortable going to a church and asking for help. So a bunch of people in the community decided, let's start our own food pantry and run it out of a gay bar on Roosevelt Avenue.
As word spread, more and more people started lining up for food. And since Love Wins is all about being inclusive, what started with the LGBTQ community quickly expanded to include anyone who needed help.
Claudia Gonzalez enjoys the food and volunteering for the pantry.
It's a beautiful thing. We share, we help out together with anything we need. It's a beautiful thing.
Day Sanchez says the team of volunteers has become a family.
On day one, like, I literally felt the love. I know our pantry is called Love Wins, but like, I literally felt the love that day. Like, I didn't know anyone, sorry. A little emotional, but it just felt inclusive.
That's what keeps 78-year-old Wayne Judkins coming back. He volunteers with both Love Wins and the Queens Center for Gay Seniors right down the street, where he helps distribute food. Judkins grew up in Oklahoma and remembers coming out to his family when he was 23.
Most of my family didn't accept me. I had 3 brothers. One of them was very accepting. The other 2 didn't talk to me for 11 years.
Judkins served in the Peace Corps in Africa, where he had to hide he was gay.
In many other countries, it was against the law. In fact, now in Uganda, you can actually be killed legally for being gay. So coming back to Queens, where you could be yourself, was really quite amazing.
And he loves the Queens Center for Gay Seniors, which is all about community. Dinyar Master comes 5 days a week.
The center has wonderful programs like Tai Chi, chair yoga, aerobic, sometimes seminars on different subjects, finance or health.
Fumiko Ono and Eleanor Batchelder had been together for 36 years and spent most of that time in Toronto, Canada, but moved to Jackson Heights because of the strong LGBTQ community.
Everybody knows that here is a gay center. It's clear. And before, people are hiding, but so now, no. That means we don't need hiding either.
Very visible. We can be quite visible here because, you know, half the population is involved with the gay life.
And Wayne Judkins wants you to know everyone is welcome.
You don't have to be gay to come to either the center or to receive the food. You just have to be someone who needs some help. And I think that's what we should all do, is try to help our fellow human beings.
Thanks so much for watching Queens Pride, a CBS New York special. I'm your host, Jessica Moore, and a big thanks to Queens Pride and the LGBT Network for letting us be a part of such a special and monumental day. We want to leave you tonight with some of the best highlights from this year's Pride Parade.